Welcome everyone. Welcome to ZW Fans and Legends Show. Very excited today, as always. We always bring unfiltered views on Zimbabwean football, and we try to discuss without fear or favor everything that will be going on. So if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, and please do bring your comments. We love them, and we love discussing football with you. And we thank you for all the feedback and all the comments and all the discussions from our last discussion with the legend, Siva Simeda. It's been a very interesting 2 weeks whilst we were discussing. And of course, I was a bit unhappy about some of the abusive comments. I think we always try to discuss football ngotaura zvebhora tobva tapedza ipapo and not go into abuse and all, because we all have different opinions and views on football. So we try to come in respectfully and disagree very strongly, but respectfully. So I hope in the coming few weeks we'll also have more interesting discussions. So today I'm with my fellow panelists. As usual, we've got Kevida, we've got Wilfred, we've got Ray, we've got Oliver, and myself, your usual host as well. So today we're very excited. We've got a football legend, a true football legend, Edelbert Dinha. He's just been asking us where we got the nickname Phil Collins, but you explain to us where you got the nickname from. Yeah. So guys, how are you? And my legend, how are you doing?
Thank you very much. I can't wait to talk to you guys and share whatever that we are supposed to share and answer the questions that the ZW fans has got, for me to answer. But once again, thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for honoring us by coming. We know you'll be very busy, but yeah, with your love for football, I know we are going to have a very good time. Kevin, Wilfred, how are you doing?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Not bad.
Yeah, lovely. So yeah, just to start on an interesting step, we usually ask this question first. We know you played for Caps United and I think Darren T in Zimbabwe. But what's the team that you really support in Zimbabwe?
Okay. My father was a very staunch supporter of Dynamos. So, when you have a father that supports Dynamos the way that he did, so everybody in the house was forced to support Dynamos. So I grew up supporting Dynamos.
Oh, interesting. So it seems like all the Caps legends used to be Dimbare supporters. What Kevida here is a Dimbare supporter.
Vaimbunyikidzwa.
Because Title, why he used to take us to go and watch the games. So the game that we always watch was Dynamos against another team. Dynamos against other team. It was never Cape United versus Highlanders or so that zvakazotanga kuzoitika tazunyasokura manje takuziva kuti okay, Cape United, there is Joel Shambo, there is Stanley Ndunduma, there is Stick Simtizwa. Then now we go and watch by ourselves Cape United versus Highlanders. But growing up, it was Dynamos, the Moses Chungas, Oliver Kateas, all those, you name it, those legends. Saga Kumba, it was, you buy a magazine, a parade magazine, line up Dynamos, take it on the wall so that Mdaraga Pindamba, he sees, Dynamos, and then he becomes happy. So eventually we fell in love with Dynamos too.
You just had to comply.
We just had to
That's
comply.
interesting.
That's yes.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So how did your footballing journey start down from Zimbabwe? Which ghetto do you come from, and what made you maybe go into football then up until you got to Darintini?
Whew, yeah. I think this is going to shock a lot of people. I think something that I've never said before, because I used to then go Taura from Darintini going up. But, playing for the junior football, I never really played junior football.
Really?
It was always, no. I never played junior. I only joined Darintini, I think, when I was 16 years. Yes, 16 years. That's when I joined Darintini. But before that, it was just school football. That's it. Money game. That's it. So I never had a proper junior development football. It was just school and toenda Zugmarain. We play money game, and then that's it. So one day, we were playing money game because grew up in Chitungwiza. So we were playing money game outside Chibuku Stadium. And then the late Neva Gombera just happened to be there. And then he says, listen, you better stop this tomorrow. So we were playing, I think it was on a Sunday. Monday, you need to come to training. That's how I joined Darintini.
Wow. Saka, because Tachi and Yuga legend, like from the midfielders that I had seen mu Zimbabwe, in that position that you played, there's a type of footballer that you see, like, for example, these days, if you see the likes of Rodri, if you see the likes of, even before Ana Busquets, there are players who exactly that with that touch. So how did you get that without any junior footballing development?
The credit should go to Wislo Grabowski. So when we were chosen to go and train with Darintini first team, so when Grabowski is coaching you, for him it was all about the technique. So if you don't have technique, you're not gonna play. He didn't care about how skillful you were, but he would teach you, he'll coach you how to control the ball, how to strike it, short passes, long passes, how to hit it perfectly. With Grabowski, it was only about clean technique. That's it. So if you can master that, then Grabowski would take you to Europe anytime, any day. So we learned a lot from him. And for us to be where we are now and how we managed to go and play in Europe, it was because of Grabowski. So the skills that we had, it was just a bonus for us. But in terms of technique, that was pure Grabowski.
Okay, I'm gonna leave this to the other gents. Kevi, maybe you can start.
Uh, well, welcome, Eddie. And, like I said,
Thank you, Kevin.
we had a brief, brief chat yesterday, and, I say this, not because he's here, but that's me being genuine. As you guys know me, I say things how I say it, and it was a marvel but to be in the presence of Eddie, when I moved to Cape United. And, the thing is, we all had different, paths, from where we were coming from. And with me having to go to Cape United via Steve, and having been playing in, at Unique Select in Division 1, some people came from the juniors and straight into, the first team. And for me at that time, I would say I was still learning my trade,
Yes.
trade. And So it was one of those where just being around group was just, but to Caps United, and rubbing shoulders, and Eddie stood out because there was just something about his style of play that I admired, and I think the other reason as well why I sort of I had this soft spot for him as well was because I was also, as you know, I was also a utility player. So the way that Eddie could play right back, if you put him into midfield, you wouldn't think he plays right back because you think he's a midfielder. When he's playing right back, you wouldn't think he's a midfielder, he's a right back. Where when you get into a position, you're not just filling in. You're not just filling in, a position. You actually an expert, in that role, whichever role you're playing. And so I think that attracted me a lot because I've always been a midfielder. Then the next minute I'm a striker, proper striker. And when I'm playing midfield, I'm a proper midfielder. So, but it's just the whole package, with Eddie, which really was like, just great, and being just a great person as well. When I went to Caps, there was a lot of egos there. To be fair, because a lot of them have been, you're talking, 98, around 98, then going into 99, you're talking of a team which was well known, for winning. Yeah. So there were some big names there with the Bonzo, Blajo, Mpume, and Alois, just before he left as well, was Stewart, he had left and then he came back briefly. Cheche Biriat, Abdul, like proper, big names. And one of the things, that with Eddie was, he was just Mr. Cool. It was just cool. And I remember, even just talking to him, about anything, he was just quite laid back, and you expected, or at that time, we probably expected him to be, this, big time Charlie, big headed, kind of thing, because he was good. He was good, so some people, when they were that very good, the way that they sort of interacted with others could have been different, but you wouldn't know Eddie. You wouldn't know Eddie, that he was the Eddie that we knew because you were just humble. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying it because he's here. I genuinely, from, even though I'd not seen him or spoke to him in a very long time, it's decades now, but you, one player, I always admired, and, you were great. And every time, I was looking at the national team, one of the things, that I always, wondered is why you didn't excel as much as I thought. Because if there's a few players, I really said to myself, these guys would end up playing in the top leagues, in Europe. You were one of them. I always saw that, and I know that sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. Sometimes, maybe you just don't get lucky, but I think if you had got the chance to actually go into, you're talking EPL, you're talking French League, Spanish, I think you'd have done well because your ability, your technique was just, but it's like, what you just said, you didn't play junior football. And that would be a shock to people because you really played like you were trained, from a young age, So that's, that's an accolade I could give you, really. Yeah. Yeah, I've finished, Roger. Oh,
The likes of the legends, Anna Joe, Anna Cheche, and the likes.
Is it my question now?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, it was. Going to Caps United, the pool of quality players that they had, and looking at each and every position, and you going there, because I remember, I went to Cape United at the same time as Dumisani Mpofu. So,
Okay.
we were talking about it and we were saying, okay, Dumi, you are a center back. So there's Bones or the captain. There's Frank Nyamukuta Dila there. And so I look at also the positions that I was going to play. And we are like, you know what? We're going to join Cape United, but the quality of the players that they have, are we going to play? Or we going to sit on the bench? Or we going to be these players that will just come and sit on the bench and, be part of Cape United, but not players that are going to contribute in terms of playing. But we told ourselves that, listen, they are just good individuals, and we also need to brace ourselves and compete and bring in as a strong competition. And from there, so it was when we joined Cape United, we're like, okay, these guys, we played against them, so we wanted to also play with them. So when we joined Cape United, we told ourselves that, listen, competition is only what's going to make you a better player. So when we started training, then we just, you know what, we're going to punch it in. Let's just train hard and then play. So luckily, when we played the friend game, I can't remember. We played the friend game at Realton. I can't remember the name of the team that we played against. And so we were both in the first lineup. And we won, first half, I think we won about 6-0. And then that was it. We never looked back. So whether I was competing as a right back or as a midfield, I was like, okay, the midfield, there was, I think Mbizo had gone to Germany, if I'm not mistaken. So there was Lloyd, okay. Then there was Cheche Billiard, then there was Joe, the late Joe Mgam. And then on the right, Cheche was also being used as a right back. So me and Cheche, we were like crossfield players, play on the right and then play on the midfield. So that time it happens that Cheche was in the midfield and then I played as a right back. So from that day, I never looked back. So it was up and down, up and down, up and down. So then that's where the late Kwashi said, listen, I can see the way you play that you can also play in the midfield. So I'm going to use you in those two positions, as a right back and as a midfielder. So that day, I never sat on the bench. I was in, game out.
Yeah. Thanks for awarding me this chance to ask one of the legends. And I remember the first time when I actually watched you playing. It was on TV because I used to live in Kadoma, so I couldn't come and watch some of the games. It was a national team call-up. I can't remember which team. I think it was long back, but you were playing right back at that time, and I was too young, but I remember telling someone he's clearing balls with the pass. So in my opinion, I felt like you were actually, changing how right backs have to play. And if you check, I think without knowing or without your knowledge.
Okay. Seems we've lost Wilfred. Ray, you can go ahead.
Right. Yep, James. Mr. Phil Collins.
Ndwakataura kuti nyora kuti Phil Collins. Ndamubata Ray.
The interesting thing about this name and you, for a long time I've always, I used to wonder, what has Phil Collins got to do Nebora? I used to wonder why. I think if it's not Charles Mapika, it has to be one of. It's not it was not Evans Mombara. Charles Mabika is the one who gave you that nickname. And who gave you that name?
Charles Mabika.
Charles Mabika. I used to wonder, why does he call him Phil Collins? You know? So, one of my late brother, you know, like, he said to me, "Wakamunyazo mutaridze in face to what do you mean? Akati wamutaridze utasa Phil Collins here." But no, Akati, he's African version of Phil Collins. Besides that, I think it was, you know, when these musicians sing, auntie, Mr. Phil Collins is always cool. Phil Collins was always cool. And it's just the way you also played the game. You were very cool. Very, very, very cool. And look, you guys, you know, munhu say it's, I think uchikura ndika wainzi nevabereki kuna Mwari, kune Dynamos, neZANU-PF. Zvarupera. This is what you had to grow up with, and then also decide wakurawo, you know. And it's
true.
It's funny, you guys who played for Cape Town, my support Dynamos, so you can tell it wasn't your choice. My mouth's were you know, just like Cape. My mouth's go kumba kuti fana kuenda chini ku Dynamos. But look, you guys brought something to the game. I think the problem yoga has kept me inini ndogara bora, because hatidi kubvuma kuti vafana kutamba izvinezvi, you played better than you guys. And in I stand on that. Vafana kutamba mazuva ka they've nothing on you guys, because back then you guys can't this media Costa Rica. You guys played bora without a unnecessary hype, without people trying to outdo each other for my likes and what. You understand what I'm saying? My tamba bora is it supposed to be played. I don't know what has changed. I think what has changed now is there's too much good one muna place. Tinonzwa pa social media mamonere akaiba. But you guys did it day in, day out. And the other issue is when as a midfielder, it's very hard for a midfielder to get recognition. You understand that, and you know that. Midfielder you need to really do a lot. But then back then, you guys you know, why to I mean it got but I tell you we didn't. You know good I know that when I bora sure. Nasi. You see, no one would come saying true winners, read Amazon, true winners. I yesterday and it owners carapera. Yes, the true winners, obviously, you know. But my question now comes in, Kuti, the way you guys played, and the way guys played, the way these kids play nowadays, there's a huge gulf there. There's a huge gap. There's a huge rift, and I'm not one to apologize for saying what I think I see. There's a huge rift between that. It's even a fan local, even on Tamba, Tamba overseas. But overseas, you know, they're taught in a system, and then even when comes national team, there's that difference there. But if you look at I don't know if these guys will agree with me. If you look at Mpana
Jonah.
Yeah, I'm saying he plays more like you, so he's very calm. Hana, we are lacking that quality in players, you know, like you. You spoke of Eramuna, Bumelero Zoa. Spoke of if you rewind my face Sega. What do you think is the problem now, Kuti? We can't produce such players. Why? What do you think is the problem?
Okay, I think there is a lot. Jesus. You know, if I have to start from number 1 to let's say 20 aspects that I need to discuss. I think it will take us probably a month, talking about that. But in a nutshell, the rift that you're talking about, if you look at way back when we were playing, or even before when we were playing, right? The stadium used to be full to the capacity at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning. Yet we want to watch the 3 o'clock game. Why was that? There's what we were called the reserve side. So Dynamos is playing against Cape United. Then people would want to come and watch the reserves. Why? Because those were the ones that were going to go again and play in the first team. So people, they did not want to miss any single player that is playing in the reserve side, and then next game or 2 games later, the player is playing in the first team. So the competition now goes back at training. So there's what we used to call mashanga. So you play first team and mashanga. And believe you me, the first team, I think all the people that have played football, they will tell you, there is never, not even a single time, Cape United, Highlanders, anywhere, that the first team will beat mashanga. It has never happened. The mashanga will always beat the first team. And you take from mashanga to the first, you know what? Now the mashanga, nothing. Because they wanted to, by having such quality players that are playing in the reserve side and the first team. So the competition becomes so tough that you would not separate the reserve and the first team. It was only that the first team are the ones that are playing at 3 o'clock and the reserve side are playing at 1 o'clock. That's why you find the stadiums 11, 10, 11, it's pegged already, because they don't want to miss the quality of the players that are being played in the reserve side. So now the competition, if you look at that competition and what's happening now, it's totally different. Now we have players that you say, okay, this is the first 11. These are the guys that are going to play, and then that's it. So they go to training knowing, you know what, I am going to play. There is nothing that is going to happen. But back in the day, if you do that, I will give you an example. Look at our midfield when we at Cape United, when we had the late Joe, then we had Lloyd Tembwe, and I think it was it? Yeah, the late Cheche too. Okay, I can put those 3 midfielders. Eh? And then, so we had now these youngsters that are coming, the late blessing Yogo. So you knew, you know what, if I don't perform, you give Yogo a chance, then that's it. That boy is going to grab that opportunity and now wanting to, listen, I am going to play. So if we look at now, let's take for an example, Scotland FC, right? If I can ask you that, okay, from those guys that are playing now, where are the other reserve players that you think that will say, okay, I'm going to put Knowledge Thompson on the bench, I'm going to put Walt Thompson on the bench? There's nothing. So it's all those players that are going, coach will say, okay, you know what, we're winning 2-0, now it's 5 minutes to go. Let me just take Kama out and then put one of the players to go in. But not necessarily that someone is giving Knowledge or Walter a competition, a training. So there is nothing like that. So now it goes back to, where is our junior football? We don't have junior football. Do we have clubs that has got junior football? 1, 2, 3. And what about the rest? There's nothing. So what happens to school competitions that Coca-Cola competitions? I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe Ichiriko, but I'm not sure. And because it was so when we had Darren T, right? We play with always, we played with Stuart in the same team. But when you go back to school now, it's Seke versus Zengeza 1. So now there is these guys at Isusu Trugu Seke Nana Nomen, and then playing against Ana Alois Zengeza 1. So you can imagine that when it's those two schools are playing, Panenge Pakaita say, knowing one knows that now they are playing against each other. We have missed that. It's not there anymore. If I have to talk about it, it's a lot. It pains me. We don't even have junior football.
Thanks for that, Eddie.
It's not there.
This is you see, thank you for bringing up that. That's a very important aspect that I don't know Hangu Kuti where along the way from 1980 along the way to Chuya Kuti, you know, when things started changing, kuzifa kuya Kuti, the people who knew the importance of junior football and when they're being replaced, they're now replaced. You know, Kuti, they're being replaced by either people who didn't know, who don't know the importance of junior policy, or people who just don't know football. Because I'll tell you, straight shooting from the hip. You know, I don't like mixing about the you know, mixing about my words. We have a problem, Yakuti, right now. Yakuti, if any post comes up and Yebora, it's not the best suitable person. You see, the problem, Yiripo, you can have the qualified person and have the most suitable person. These are two different people we are talking about. Most qualified, Munu can have Mape, is qualified to do this. But is he suitable with a some anyone with a degree and but it was what actually can you do? You know, problem in Zimbabwe is that there's an over emphasis on and there are things that you say you need the qualification to do, and there are things that you say you need a person who's knowledgeable and who's suitable for that post. What, and he can never talk to a bunch of kids about the game and make them understand what he's saying and make them apply what he's just said on the field. And the same thing, so that overemphasis on these things has destroyed the game as we know it, has destroyed the development here, Bora, as we know it, Zimbabwe. Because but we know there was that tournament I end up fan of Blawayo. You know, where Alibaba Dube, he was famed for that. Alibaba would tell you, Timmy about Pomtare, Uyo, Mdara had this eye. You could tell, Uyo, Mdara could see. That same eye that I had, Moses Chunga has got it. Rezamen has brought in players that we didn't even know existed. This was, I went, Uyo. You see, these guys, this is something Chirima Ariga. You can't buy it. You can't coach it. But you see, Hatidi Kumupa that position because someone will come and say, yeah, ana qualification. You know, this is what I'm trying to say with at times. Even generally, we lose things in life because Trakwis are overemphasis in Zisina Basa don't help us in the future. Right now, people are starting to, they're scrapping, Kutidzo say, you know, junior football, junior league. I know Vakudara, there was under 15, under 17, under 19, under Chaguti, Mwenda reserve side. How do I know that? Both I don't Mwenda Kurelton, 2 to 5 Moseshena, and it Ogara, Timio Yotamba. And then by no better than 8 meza mukunskepteja monosiwa tona Mangwana you are back Chatiku, thank you. And then Mangwana you are back knowing could it, and as you sit outside which one from 5 the guy anopindaba at some day I want to be the guy anopinda. And then you also idolize someone arikutamba, but hey, this guy, why even hey, Fesuyo, how does he do that? Already you're starting to push yourself. Mentally you're pushing yourself. And then on the field, what I say, kuzi push a foot. And in my coaches, I can't train under Friday piri. And Tuesdays, Zimbabwe is known within day fitness and train under Friday piri. Amana panachamuka wona imini. Wakambotrain panopedza session wenda kumba. 1 week Friday piri like manyisa wega susu. But you see, we lack vision to see kuti junior policy, the importance of junior policy. Right now, you spoke of knowledge of Walter, of Cameron. Right now, in your days, Eddie, would it be normal kuti a 35-year-old dance with a soccer star Muripo?
No.
But knowledge is going to be soccer star. Knowledge is soccer star of the year. We are not arguing, we are not discussing the because but all this knowledge. That is a red flag. That is a red flag. And when we speak about it, knowledge is one of the greatest players we will ever produce. Because South Africa, ndakatombotumira boys per group. Ana happy jele vane podcast yavo.
Yes.
Asi Jeff Mashaimane rakaspoti. Oh, knowledge msona. Yo machita. They talk about him now, but akatambari the Chiefs. We're talking years ago.
Yes.
But right now, knowledge is working Premier yedu. And do point number 1 to show you there's something wrong somewhere. Do point number 1. Point number 2, we have a 54-year-old Arutamba Premier League in Zimbabwe. This. You cannot discuss Anevanu. What else Anevanu, Eddie? They'll say. I don't know, Zimbabweans, we love these 2 words. Urkurwadziwa kana kuti urikuvenga or something. Ndorwadziwa, yes. I'll tell you why ndorwadziwa. Because under normal circumstances, even wakomana aruma 34, 35, I shouldn't even be playing. But these guys are dominating. It shows kuti there's a problem. There's a problem with our football. And it goes back, kuti, that junior structure, right. How do we sort that one out? Okay, just a suggestion. I'm not saying because we can only suggest and discuss things. How do you think we should solve that one? Just in a nutshell.
There's 2 things that you said, and I was like, you know what? It's like you reading my mind. We talk about someone who's qualified and the person who's suitable for the job, right? Not disrespecting him or anything. We have a technical director from where? From Uganda, who doesn't even understand. Is it Burundi or Uganda?
Yeah, Burundi.
Who has got no clue of Zimbabwean culture, football. He doesn't have. So if we do try and error with him, like what Ray had said, why not give Moses Chunga, the eye of the player's ID to identify youngsters that can be in the national team? Bambo, as Ray said, hey, Bambo, gentlemen, I will take off my head. Bambo Ma one. He knows how to identify youngsters. There is no 2 ways. There is no 2 ways about that. So if we now say, okay, Bambo, can you please help us, right? In terms of identifying, these youngsters that are going to play for the national team, right? Okay, before I even finish with that, Bambo, we had under 20. Now this pains me. We had under 20 that went to play. I think it was COSAFA in Mozambique, right? I think is it 2-3 years ago, and then they lost to South Africa. So the game that they lost to South Africa, if they had won that, was it South Africa? Or it was, I can't remember who. If they had won that game, they would have qualified for Afcon. South Africa, right? Yes. So those players, those 3 years ago, those players, do we have them in the database? No. Not even out of those 20, under 20, not even one has been called out to the national team to train with the national team, under 20. So you see now, there is a long way for us to say, you know what, we need under 17 national team. We need under 20. We need under 23. I will tell you this. I went to France. Okay, now it's just a matter of just comparing. So I went to France with this friend of mine. And so I wanted to find out how they do their players' ID, these young ones that will be there. So this guy told me that they have 10 coaches, right? Now, listen to this now. Those 10 coaches, they could coach Premier Leagues, EPL, those 10. But where are they? Juniors, junior development. But they can coach EPL teams, but they are coaching where? Juniors. So they go around France and each and everyone can bring 20 players. Under 15.
Wow.
So they've got 100 kids, right? So those 100 kids, they are taken to a camp. Then they start now selecting until they get what? Probably 20 players. So those 20 players, they go to camp after every 4 months. They go for camping. They are not playing any tournament. They are just going to camp to be coached, to be good. And then it comes a time whereby they will say, okay, out of those 20, these ones we're sending them to PSG, two they are sending to Monaco. Then they start now saying, okay, now we need to follow them and see how they are doing. Right now, this is under 15. Remember, they are now when there is a tournament for under 17, easy for them. They know who they are going to pick. Then they pick those kids, camp again. Then they play for under 17s. And then that's it. I mean, look at how they pick from under 15s. They go for camp without even playing any tournament until they grind them, until they become good players. So that's another European style. That's how France do. But with us, we have a TD who doesn't know the culture of Zimbabwean football. And you have legends, greatest players that has got an eye for PI. But we neglect them because, as Ray said, no, Moses Chunga should have qualifications. But is he the suitable person for that job that can help us to identify players? Yes, he is. So why not try and err? Okay, let's give him. Let's see if he can help us. If he doesn't, yes, and then we can fire him. But why are we not doing that? So now Ray said, I don't remember at Cape United when we played with someone that was above 33 years. There was no one. It was fighting. The oldest one will be probably 29. Yes. Probably the oldest one will be 29 or 30 years old. And I mean, honestly, it is a disgrace to have the owner of a club 54 years playing in the PS. I mean, what does it say about Zimbabwe Premier League? We are a laughing stock. Everybody will be like, listen, can I go gym 53 years and then
I'm not a time.
But it's not supposed to be like that. As fun as really poor.
I think.
Yeah.
I think
Can I
your
tell you
point, Eddie, sorry, gents, I just came late. Yeah.
Go on, Prince.
I think to your point, I like how you mentioned the system Eco France here, Clairefontaine. That's the system that identified your Thierry Henry, your Kylian Mbappe from a very tender age. And what happens is France has a national DNA. The under 13, the 15s, the 17s, 21s up to the first team, they play the same type of football. Look at the same template. It's been used by Spain. De La Fuente coached under 17s, 20s, 21s. The same crop, that's the same crop that's brought. That team had been struggling. They used to play tiki-taka, and then they had to refurbish. But they noticed that we can't change things from the top, from the first team. Let's develop a system from the juniors. By the time we get to the first team, We have a football identity, and we know how we play. Even if we replace Ray na OJ, we know what they're going to give because they know Kutichi, this is what they're supposed to do. But with Zim now, we'll wait until it's time for Afcon. Takutsvaga ndiani ari ku-UK, ndiani ari
Yes.
kutamba ku-Belgium, who's playing ku-South Africa. People who've never played, they get their debut at a major tournament. It's almost like social.
Baboons.
You see,
It is social. Yes, it
takusanganisa
is
vanhu.
social.
And you see when we play, you can tell there's no cohesion. Yes, like the previous Afcon there was talent there. The coach came in a month before. And it brings like it's a science, whatever science he was talking about. And then there's another, and then some of the players hadn't played for the national team in 4 years. They're brought back for Afcon. You can't expect to win if you don't have proper systems. I like also what you mentioned about Moses Chunga. Those are people who know the game in and out when it comes to local football. And those are the people that can help design a template. But this is how we want to play as a country. And that can be translated from our local league standard. This is how we want to play. And your knowledge, obviously, even in top leagues, we had Benny McCarthy come to South Africa as a bit overweight and dominated. You have those kinds of players. We don't mind. But if you're now having a 54-year-old playing and the team competing and getting draws,
Not getting
winning sometimes,
relegated.
it's ridiculous. I saw a European video, laughing that a Zimbabwean team owner is playing. They're saying it's like if Roman Abramovich had said, "I want to play for Chelsea." You see, so it's quite ridiculous. I like how you mentioned that, but we do need voices, from people like you to come in and say, Amana, let's do this 1, 2, 3, 4, because you guys know it best. You've done it everywhere. You know what it takes to get to the next level. But at the moment, we're just creating a boozers league, and it starts there. We can't rely on my foreign players because vanenge vasingazivi DNA nyika. Mnakauya at 25, agruma Leicester City, whatever. It's difficult for them to adapt to the national team. That's why we're struggling.
Can I add on?
No. Yeah.
Kuti, we need more voices, Auntie. We need more voices. You see, this what Prince is just saying, like the example that you gave, France here. I think it's not just France that does it. I think most of these teams out there, they do that. Look at Germany right now. They brought in Pep. They are lost to another. That's not how Germany plays. Now they need to go back. They've brought in Jurgen Klopp. They want to go back to their settings. Reset your settings, Kuti. This is where we're going. Not just that, we need more voices of former players, speaking about this. We need former players to be involved in the running of the game. You see, this is the biggest mistake we make is that we think once a former player retires from the game and then he's doing something else, then we just think, like, let's bring in, we need to have within the structures of that football administration, let's say former players there. They will give you an insight that you cannot see. And so what do you think? Let's do this. What do you think? Let's do this. And then there's also another sticky situation. We'll come back to that one, boys. It's on this guy. Eddie, you're one of the first guys to go and play to South Africa. PSL. South Africans are known for Shibobo. South Africa ukasarova chichichi. Vanenge vachingoti. But you see, you're one of those guys who went there, played the way you played. You never changed. And these guys just loved you. Like, Kuti, this guy is efficient in his doings. Which to me is one thing you need to raise a player, Kuti. You don't need to change your style. It is the coach who is supposed to make sure, your style, you fit in his team because he brought you there. How difficult was it for you? Because back then, South Africa was not known to take, a lot of foreigners, Vachitamba, because if my memory still serves me right, you were one of the goals was Chikoya. Chikoya did anga garaine time ari ku South Africa already, and Orlando Pirates.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
Chicho also anga garane time ari ku Kaizer Chiefs.
Aru
But
Chiefs.
you're one of those guys who left Zimbabwe and went there. Was it was it Cape Town? You're going Cape Town, aren't you?
Yeah, Ajax. Yeah, Ajax
Cape Town
Cape Town.
Spurs.
Yeah, you just went
No,
there.
Ajax
You
Cape
eventually
Town.
became. I think you were a captain. Kogo. I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
still
I was the
getting
captain.
right.
Yes.
Like it's
Yes,
not
I was.
easy. It's not easy for. It was not easy for Zimbabweans. You're one of the guys who opened the way for these guys. Right? How was the transition from Zimbabwe to South Africa, the South Africa League?
It wasn't that difficult because coming from Zim, ndiyani angachitaura nyaya Friday Piri. Pana angachitaura nyaya Friday
Yeah,
Piri.
direct.
Oye, kuti mamhanyisiro aunoitwa na Friday Piri ka uchipedza training mwiri wako wese unenge uchirwadza kubva kumusoro zvese kusvika kuti unenge uchirwadziwa, unenge uchitonge pamwe wadhumwa kana nezimwe zitraki rabudhuma zvokuti you can't even walk. saka in terms of physicality, you come to South Africa, you are top, you are there because it wasn't they are not that physically strong. South Africans, it's that shusha and piano, but it's when you come now from Zim, you're coming from the late Blackwash thing, Steve, because Tuesday, Tai Mani, Tuesday, Tuesday, you don't bring soccer boots at all. You don't. It's only techies because you are going to run. And then so the competition also in Zim compared here, I would say in Zim it was much more tougher than here. So it's physicality, the competition, and the pace yeku Zim at that time. Bora rai igfamba. You know kuti when you play against Memory Mshirawo, you're gonna run box to box and back, box to box and back, box to box. So you needed to be fit. So all of those things, all those aspects, and then you come to South Africa. So the first thing that you see is okay, you go 50-50. Okay, he's pulling off kanaguti school computer newe, and then you running. What's happening? So you set yourself the standard now that okay, I'm not a South African, I'm a Zimbabwean. This is what we are used to. So kuno kwane was not jaira. So by the time you work with some ground manage, as he said, the coach is not going to tell you what to do. The coach will put you and say, everybody, let's follow him. This is what he is going to do. So for me, it was a case of one season. And then the following season, they decided, no, this guy must be the captain. Look at how he plays. Look at how he leads. Because in Zimbabwe, we were born as leaders. We are, everywhere we go, leaders. And then so it became easier for me. Chingotamba. That's why ndakazotengwa ne Pirates. Kuti ndishenda Pirates. And I always tell people this. Pirates is one of the biggest teams in Africa. There is no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell me about the crowd. Because back at home, Dynamos versus Cape United, and it was hostile. So for me, it wasn't something new. The only difference was, it's Pirates versus Chicks. But I wasn't intimidated in the crowd. Because Dynamos, Patekamani Dynamos, Taimbwa, Taitukwa.
Yeah.
Saka, I got used to that. Saka for Sabana's Jena Pirates crowd, it was like, Sandaitaris and okay, Dynamos versus Capes. That's it. Let me just enjoy my game. And then that's how now I was like, I also had an interview after my first derby that, the way you were playing, you were so relaxed. You were not scared of the crowd. That, my guy, this we have back in Zim. This Pirates versus Chiefs. There is Caps versus Dynamos Day, National Sports Stadium. And here they don't sing. kuzimu unotuka, Dynamo supporters will be swearing at you. They will swear at your mother, your father, the whole time. When you get the ball, they don't want you to get the ball. Islanders, yes, you go to Baba Fields, same thing. So for me, it was like, you know what? No, this is just a piece of cake, and I adjusted quickly because of the crowd.
My last question.
That's lovely. So,
My
I know that before you went to South Africa, you may have passed through Poland.
Yes.
What happened there? And why did you stay for a short time?
No, it was, I think, as I said from the beginning, that, you know, we were very fortunate that we had Grabowski, who was a Polish guy, and Grabowski, it was all the time, it was so we would go to training. You know, with Grabowski, we would not train in a full pitch sometimes. We'll go to Botanic Gardens. Tennis ball. So we go, the whole session, you juggle the tennis ball, and he'll tell you how to hit the tennis ball. That, you know, the whole week we will be doing that, and then we go and play a game. So he knew, he understands what was needed in Poland. So when you master that technique, when you become, not even say perfect, when you become permanent, then he say you are ready, and then go. So I went to Poland. I left Zim Sunday, and then I got there Monday. So Monday they took me, they said, you are going to train, let's train. So the first thing that they did, it was technique. I was like, how? I can do this with my eyes closed. So I hit the technique, and then they phoned Grabowski. We want to sign this one. My first day at training, we want to sign this one.
Wow.
And then we played the friendly game the following day. And then they said, listen, let's go to the hospital, did medicals, and then I got signed. And then I played there for 2 years. And then after that, after 2 years, and then I went to go and play in Turkey.
Oh, you went to Turkey as well?
Yes, after Poland, I went to Turkey. It's like I was following Norman, because when Norman was in Turkey, and then when I got there, and then he went to Turkey, Galatasaray, and then after my season, and then I followed to Turkey as well.
So you went to Turkey before you went to South Africa?
Yes. So the reason why I didn't go back to Turkey was because this was not Grabowski now. This was the Turkish agent. So the 2 years, also the 2.5 years that I was in Turkey, I signed a contract that was in Turkish, not sharing my salary with this guy for 2 years.
Oh.
So if I'm getting, let's say I'm getting 10,000 US, so he's getting 5, and then I get 5. So for 2 years.
Yeah.
So that was the club. But with him, at that time, I had signed a 5-year contract with him, with the agent. So I decided that no, it's enough. I'm not going back. Let me rather go to back home. So that's when I went from Turkey. Then I went to Blackpool. I played for Blackpool for 1 season. That's where now the late Shepherd Buganya came and took me from Blackpool to Cape United. So my journey with Cape United that season, I think it was 98. Yeah, 98. So Cape signed me for 1 year. So when I played the Capes for 1 year, God, I will never forget that year. The 98, I will never forget it, because there's a lot of things that happened there. So that's when I was supposed to be player of the year, right? Because every club, everyone said, listen, this guy, soccer star of the year. There is no two ways. There is no doubt about that. So we went to play with the national team in Mozambique, a friendly game, mere friendly game. And then I got a red card. So when we came back now, after the season, voting, there's no one that is going to vote Dinha is the player of the season. Then Sharuko, I want him to listen. Sharuko says he doesn't deserve to be the soccer star of the year because he got a red card in Mozambique. But they said it was a friendly game. They says no, it doesn't matter. He got a red card. And then so Robson wanted who? Tauya Mrewa. And then Tauya Mrewa got also a red card friendly game. Dynamos, I don't know who they were playing with. Tauya Mrewa got a red card. So then they said Tauya Mrewa got a red card. And then they end up giving Walter Chuma from Wanki the player of the year.
So my journalist akatanga udara ka.
Zvakatanga udara.
Okay.
Yeah.
That make a sense, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Saka,
No, but
I wanted to ask. Yeah, I wanted to ask.
Go ahead,
yeah,
Wilfred.
Go on,
Sorry.
Wilfred.
Yeah. Thanks. Hey, my network was acting up, and I had to take a drive so that nazoenda pasinganese network manje. I sort of to my soonest I think we have moved now. But like I was saying earlier, Guti, I was fortunate to watch you play, and instead of clearing balls, my high balls, no, you were actually passing my clearances with some passes. And if you noticed, Munaka Copa player is David Sengu, Cape United. He was actually doing the same thing, whereby he doesn't hit the ball, he cleared the balls with the passing. So that's somehow your fruits, which you somehow would say Yokasiyamu Premier League, in as far as I'm concerned. If you look at my structures in my teams, they are built. They are built with the left back, right back, the central midfielders. Masibi vari two hawana basa. Vanongoisirwa kungoti vanongopedzera play, but the main people in a team is the left back, the right back, and those three central midfielders. Ndokunge tine three or those two central midfielders. Ndo vanhu vari important pa every team. And wakada kutaura any team yaunosangana nayo yese, wakazotasa yaunoti the greatest team yese yaunosangana nayo yese, even ingave Brazil yana Cafu, yana Roberto Carlos, yanga yakadaro kuti inenge ine Cafu, Roberto Carlos, and then the Gilberto yatokwana yakadaro. That's how it plays. Wakada even the current one yakawina Spain. There's Cucurella is the best. There's right back Poro. It's centered panu those people. What else even Manchester United over club level is the Gary Neville's right back, Patrice Evra left back, and those Carrick and so that's how teams are made. So Gonoch Poa, Roy Tamba is right back or as a left back. You are a good player. So my players Tamba right back, Tamba left back, Bashoma, Abawanike. Because that's how teams are made. Nopano team ipapo is in Ambere. So in my opinion, you were more like someone ari anoziva bora kana uchinzitamba parade back, and then later on tamba mueng foot. You see where I'm actually coming from. We can't talk of talent when we don't mention your name. That's what I'm trying to say. In as far as I'm concerned, I only watched you 2 times, to be honest. But those 2 games which I watched you playing, I was like, who is this guy? And ndaitadza kutaura zita rako, ndaiti Edelbert Dinha. And then no, it's Edelbert. Up to now, wrote on the nether. This guy, I don't know, but there's something about him which I like when he's playing. So thank you so much for the part Yoga in actually in Zim football, because vanoziva bora, like what you're saying, you talk of Moses Chunga, you talk of those proper legends who knows football. Those guys are the proper legends. They know football. Of course, vanoziva bora vanga vari pamapositions apa. Nekuti tinotoita kunge as if, I can't say it's a case, but zvinotoita kunge as if we are not allowed zvacho zvebhora. We've got the people who can do it. We've got the players who can play. We've got everything. But wakada kutarisa chakatisunga muZimbabwean football is the administration. Kana pasina administration, whether we have good players or what, if the administration doesn't know what they're doing, if the administration doesn't support the welfare of the players, then we're not going anywhere. Zvinodzoka admin secretariat yeZIFA, not the president, the secretariat. Who is there? Who is cooking? Who is looking for players? Kwete zvatrials. Pane ndakuona kunoitwa matrials kuUK kuno. And then I was like, who is conducting matrials? Matrials enyika mudhara. Tingatotsvaga hedu kana maconsultants kana vanhu vakatombotamba bhora chaivo kuti guys, imi hamuna munhu wamunoziva, hamuna kana hama yangu nayo. Endai munotsvaga maplayers anga represente nyika. Mototumira vanhu vasingatombozivikanwa. And then moita zvebhora. Izvo kuti mangaya pasocial media, uyu anotambira nhingirini, uyu akutodezwa kunational team mangwana. Then tadzokera futi kuya whereby unoita ngezifruta zvebhora, but hapana zvebhora zvomuri kuita. Do you know kuti one of the young boys mfana wedefender wewe akabatwa kuBurnley under 20 mfana weku-South Africa
Yes.
akanga atori
Yes.
ku-national team.
Yes.
He was there ku-national team ye-South Africa. He was there. That young boy. He's only 18 if I'm not mistaken, if not 19. But he's now part of the South African team. Why? Because akatoonekwa kunzi unhu ndo kwakabudira Tostao local. Muchibva mu-local moenda mu regional, mabva mu regional mozoenda ku-national. National vaitambirwa pa-Prince Edward. Yaitambirwa pa-Prince Edward. Mozoenda ku-national. Baba vanhu vaiuya bhora raitambwa pa-Prince Edward apa vanhu vasangana vachibva uko, vamwe vari kubva kuGokwe, vamwe vari kubva kwakati, vamwe vari kubva kwakati, vakusangana pa-Prince Edward papa. Waizoti yes, ndo pakabuda Tostao Kwash. Ndo pakabuda Tostao Kwash achimhanyisa vanhu. That's how we knew Tostao Kwash. So bring it back if you want Zim football to start again. Tangai mupe zvikoro mikana yekuti vatange vana taipiwa mauniform kuzvikoro. Endai munotamba bhora. Munhu wese wants to play football. Muchinotamba muchiqualify kusvika masvika pa-national team. Mozotumira mascouts, macoaches mahombe kuti right, chigadzirai under 15, gadzirai under 17, gadzirai under 20. Motangira aiwa madiki wa. I don't blame him. You see, I don't blame him. Because panguva yacho naoka kwaitovena natauya murewa time yaida kutamba bhora rasingatambike. Saka izvinaona mukana akautovhoma gadzira team yake uchitamba bhora. You see? So that's where everything comes from. Vanhu they are bitter when they form their teams, baba. Munhu anenge ada kutorirova bhora. Tarisa kana even Scott akatombotaura kuti he was a good goalkeeper. But akashaya mukana kutamba. That's how. Yeah. But ndosaka akafoma team yake, ndosaka akatanga Scotland. Wakada kwazotsvaga. He wanted to play but akashaya mukana wokutamba bhora. Saka vanhu vari kutanga ipapo imba yedu yaitoona ground iroro manje ipapo ichocho. So in what I used to do ndichikura manje ndenga vanhu kuti muri wangani.
Yes,
ndakaona muri 4-4. Ndakaona muri 4-4 ndozoti handina chance kuti ite 5-5. Because I love football to the extent, you see. So takaona technique even nomen takamuona pa ndipo zvakatangira nana Frost, nana Black, nana Butler, nana paitambwa bhora pepe.
Nana Butler.
Papa. Yeah. Pakatambwa bhora nemuhara achitungwiza ipo pepe. Yeah. So I mean it's one of those things, but we always say cry our beloved Zimbabwe. It's not like we don't have players, but it's only about the administration. The administration yakaita vanhu vane chigai chebhora, vanoziva bhora kuti no, bhora kuti riendere mberi roda kunzwai. Bhora remuZimbabwe rinomuka zvakare. Rinomuka mouyawo apana moadzidzisa technique avo. Bhora rinotambwa so, rinonzwai. Vapana voisu anomisa bhora. They can't do it. So those are some of the things. We need you back in Zimbabwe. We need you back to come again. Motanga futi bhora reria zvamaita zviya. Vafana variko ende vafana vari kuda kutamba bhora, but havasi kuwana mukana wokutamba bhora.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fred. Anything to add on that, Eddie?
You know, he took me back to Chitungwiza. You know, like the players that he has mentioned. As I said that, you know, competition. You know, when you get together as friends, and train together. I mean, this is only friends that are training together. It's not even a club, like the players that you mentioned. Norman Mapeza, you know, Lloyd Shtembwe, myself, Frost Zangari, the late Butler Masangu, Dila sometimes will come and then join. So we had friends that will say, listen, apart from our training sessions, let's get together. From the clubs, let's get together. Let's wake up, let's train. And then we always push each other there, and we always assist one another. That's something that is lacking even with the new generation now. If you ask them how many times do you train a day, he will tell you that he trains once and then that's it. So it's either the other time he's on the phone, he goes to the mall, he's looking for girls, Instagram, and you know, posting, you know, things like that. But there's no enough time to equip yourself, you know, to be a better player than what you are. Yeah, we are. No, we don't. So from Chitungwiza drive, you train Cape United, you come back home, and then that's it. The day is gone. So the hunger to be the top player, I don't think it's there anymore. It's I mean, we
Eddie,
see these boys.
Can I jump in there? Sorry for cutting you off.
No, it's okay.
I want to take it back. Ndaudzokera mumashure mbichana. Pane pawataura nyaya where you played your best football, you're supposed to be soccer star. Zvikazonzi pane akauya ne 2 feet, taiti 2 feet, kurwandare over a red card friendly game because he had chosen one. I want to say this. The biggest problem we are facing right now in our football, whether it's the world over or it's especially in Zimbabwe, we've got Vanu with access to a smartphone and Wi-Fi. I want you to hear me. Now, and this, unfortunately, Vana Vakava, they've got so much influence on what happens. Zekutika, their word is taken as the ultimate thing. Kuti ataura zvakadai, saka it is what it is. Uyu face uyu anonzi Sharuko uyu handitika. Akamboda posta food pa Twitter, and someone said to him, Fanika yoda wanyara nenyaya ko Asia Gate. He wanted to talk about another person's ethics. Akanomo munu you need to stop nenyaya dzako dze Asia Gate. We've gotten to a point where a player comes, just flashes of brilliance, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Akutracewa apa kunza uyo akaipa. Bora is about consistency. It's not about one. It's not a one man show, one off thing. Bora is about consistency. And consistency. Right now you're talking about hunger. You're talking about consistency. You're talking about work ethics as a player. What are your work ethics? Where is your mindset as a player, Kuti? You know, Kuti, we watch these boys, Anna Yamin Lamal and all these kids doing things. And then we think Kuti, these boys after Bora, after Bora kuenda kuno jamba ma speaker. Vapana vaivaka vane vanhu vanoprotecta nomudzoti wangu we're going home. Izvo chimbomira zvaurotitira izvozvo. Handei ngatibai. Because they know the effects of the surroundings, how they affect a player. A player is easily affected. People even right now, Eddie, I'll just explain the importance of why players going to camp. You know, Guti, we are starting to accept Junzisina Bahasa, all because it's when something is wrong and it's normalized, and chiremera chinobva chinobva ende kunozosaraka is a okay, those are tinazvo. You know, we also try and find. We had another podcast, but I tell Panapa Kuti. If you look at the players from your era and beyond and before, something just has changed drastically. Something changed big time. My strikers from your time, kuzunza dweri kwakwa vakomana vaitwa vane mishonga kurova gate kuti kipo vaita vane mishonga but vaizunza hamana but vakupopota hedu kuti kipa but apapapa hapana zvaiita. You played for Pirates. Legs of Thunder Skosana, mneza nomziya Jerry Skosana nomziya. Darai waneti kuzunza neti muZimbabwe strikers could do that. Ananoiswa anana shoot vakomana vaizunza dweri so. But right now, and with wingers and Amogen Katazo, you know what zvaitwa nakomana vaivayaka ukatasa right now. You just said, is this the same league yakatamba vakomana ava? And I'll tell you, Kuti, the biggest problem that comes with that is tine so-called journalists now, so-called, and I'll call them so-called. In Indian, they can come from it on 10 hours to chipedzrana it's they come and then they start Ningi because Razodai. Back then, you know, a player could come from Islanders. Openya, but kept Skuna Ningi. And they would tell him to come but Islanders Skuna Ningi. It was so people would agree Kuti, this guy is doing things, auntie. Because football was viewed from the same angle. There was no malice behind it. There was nobody out one by end. We are sorry. That has changed. And because we've got now my journalists who is so-called, they come in on your Ranoda. And to think about Kuti, they denied you those accolades because of a red card in a friendly game. And then only to find out Kuti, red card foot in a friendly game. Saka now they couldn't give him because they had to bring your issue back in, and then they had to give Walter. And I'm not saying anything about Walter, but if you deserve to get it, what do we do about? How do we solve Nyayo? Because if you look at it's coach Yagana Manjo, another Makanika Marinika. This guy came with this team. In 2 months, was it 2 months, OJ? Kwenda Afcon. How many months did he have before Afcon?
Yeah, 1 month.
Yes, 2 months.
1 month.
Yeah, roughly, 1 month.
Days.
Yeah.
Days. I want you to look at the problem. Tinyaso player. This guy came with 30 days. Could I end Afcon? This guy was sold. Could he choose a team? This guy was being told kuna ningi. And did he? And guess what? My journalists at Rumta, they were very loud that isusu tinovaona tinoverenga tinoona follow tichiona both ukamfollow iwe ndinozoona ukamfollow chete inobva yatodudza kuti ningi followed by one of your ndakutozoona handiti isusu so they started saying kuti yeah adi kudai. And then I asked a question ndikati ikada mnyanya gona zvakuri kutaura kuti adi kudai inotrai chitambi cheukocha iwewe handiti uye kuzokocha kutatizi zvautaura iwewe kuti anofanira kuita. Don't just stop. Coach cannot 30 days. We were for 30 days. And then this guy comes up with his own blueprint, kuti in round I want to do things like this. Guess what happens? He's fired. He has to go.
He's fired.
And what do? You see, I'm telling you, what do they do? They bring in Caetano. You see, this is not fair on Caetano. This is not fair on Caetano. In our call a spade. It's not fair on Caetano. Because and then you put him, you're abusing him as a scapegoat. It's a question of time. Because if Caetano loses, the fans want for that. Andijo. Who are they going to? Vachati problem. Always deflect. Even my arrows are not deflect. I blame my. That's how they survive in that space. And then my journalists are trying to Ramanja. Instead of focusing on these guys, good no. Abatuki is bora resimbi. Without get why is radom bora soro voronzi. The kikire bora hero. Oh, we waka focus. What's going to do? China was that. Why is that? Saka, this is what they are doing. You as a former player, you are victim to these calls by these so-called journalists, and we've seen their influence. We've seen their impact. It's not just Zimbabwe. Look at the UK EPL. Look at the UK EPL. National team UK. You can tell who you play up in nema journalists. Who you play cannot we coach at the nema journalists. You know, in a support on a mod space. I want to give you an example. You're a journalist. Tottenham Space has not been doing well for a long time. And we know why. Man, you take a player 45 million. Even for 45 million, the coach you take a 3-1. So players were 2 teenage and 1 player 20 million. Quality is already different. Apana, we're not discussing. Quality is different. And then a coach comes with what he has. Oh, win at Europa. That same coach is fired because when the team wants to deflect attention, Vapa or Bami South. Vaka change my coach 3 in succession. The last guy saves them. And then this owner is gone. The last coach saves them and then says, couldn't keyboard analyst experts are. Watanga kuti, should this striker go? Striker he's never graduated from under 18 to reserve side. Dargunzi, Gawe first team. Let's go back to my point. My journalists are Twitter saying now, Eddie, because I want to hear from your view. Because
no, I mean, you know what? For me, it was very painful. You know, you look at the hard work that you put through, the efforts, you know, everything is, you know, the help from your teammates, you know, the focusing. It was, you know, I had, you know, set my mind that, listen, it was one award that I said I want to have in my entire life. If I can have Soccer Star of the Year, because I wanted, listen, you remember Pachitanga calendar? Ichi piwa ama Soccer Stars, vanachenda pa calendar. So I had said to myself that when I go per calendar, I want to be that guy. And again, a picture to be the Soccer Star. And I did that. And then only to be told, Guti, and that red card did not count. It did not count. But then Sharuko made sure that it counted. And he was the only one. Because apparently, when you vote for someone, then everybody has to agree. All the panel, the panel, they had to agree. But if Kanapaine won, then it becomes a problem.
Okay.
So that what happens na Sharuko. So Vangwesa, they voted for me, except Sharuko. I got no red card. Then they argued, no, but that was a friendly game. I got no, never. And then he thought Tawia now is going to win it. But I want to call the Tawia and the red card Rakeraga Itaku Dynamos. Say, we are coming to your son. We are a staunch Dynamo supporter. So we want your son to come and play for Dynamo. There is no two ways. We're coming with a briefcase. We're coming to give it to you. And then Tovata Turamana. So they came, Kushtunguiz. Vavawe. Here's the briefcase. Briefcase renyu. Amaina Baba. Mwanao you are with Dynamos. Saka ipapo that's dopanika not mtarangu really made my choice to be much easier. akataura kuti I'm not going to force him to play for Dynamos. So he must choose whether he wants to play for Dynamos or he wants to play for Cape United. Vandazongoti, no, I'm going back to Cape United. I support your decision. And then that's when I went to...
So why did you refuse to go back to... Why did you refuse to go to Zimbabwe?
I was, I was thinking of how the relationship that I had with the guys, with the technical team, and also I got used to the type of football that Cape United was playing. So it made myself that, I belong there. This is where I belong. Saka, then when I went to Cape United, now this is the story that I've never said in any podcast now. So this is the first time for ZW fans to hear this story. Exclusive. So now being there, Cape United national team, now I'm a regular now with the national team. So we were playing Namibia, right? I think it was COSAFA Cup. And then at that time I was married also. I had a kid. I had a beautiful daughter. No, I do have a beautiful daughter. So after that game, so we were having problems at home, with the missus. So after the game, I played my heart out and I was man of the match, right? So got my award. And then, so I had moved back home because the fights that we're having with the madam. So we played on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yes, it was on a Sunday. The game was on a Sunday. And then I think we won 5-0. And then I was the man of the match. So I went home. I'm celebrating, I'm happy, with the mother and then, so I can't wait for the following day, Monday, to read the newspaper. And then Shepherd Buganya came that very same night. And then he says, there's a team in Cape Town in South Africa that wants you. So tomorrow you are leaving. I'm like, what? He says, tomorrow you are leaving. You are going to Cape Town. I'm like, and you are not going there for trials. They are going to sign you. I was like, wow. So take my bags, and then Shepherd, the late Shepherd Bwanya, the chairman, said, I'm coming to pick you up on Monday, then I'll take you to the airport. Yeah, okay, good. Then I woke up in the morning. I can't wait for the newspaper to back page to see, the man of the match. And then boom, I see the front page. I'm on the front page. Dinha raped his daughter. So I was like, okay, what is this now? So I thought, back page, but no, front page. Dinha raped his daughter. And then without few minutes, the police came. And then they took me. And then I went from Shtungiza, we went to Mbare police station. So that's where the docket was opened. And I'm sitting, this guy comes and like, Cape United players, you think you use Moti to be, good players. Take off your laces, take off your belt. We are going to detain you. So then I took them off. And so there's this other woman, my Takuzwa. I'm even today, I'm still in contact with her. Then she came to me as I was being taken to a cell. Then she came to me and said, what is the problem? Then I had to tell her, I know things were not okay. And so I decided to move out. Then she says, no, your wife came and she said that you raped your own daughter to be a good player. So for me to be where I am now is because I've raped her. I've been raping her. Yeah. So now I'm supposed to be flying to go to Cape Town. And now this is me now taken to a cell. So as I was talking to my this lady, and then I don't know, for some reason, that she says, no, I think this has got to do with it's a domestic issue. So I'm not going to detain you, but every day you need to come and then report. So as I was going now to report, and so she was taking the statement, and so remember, now I'm in front of the news, because it was about a full week that I was in the front page. And then so I think the chairman had to talk to the guys from Cape Town and say, there is the issue that is happening here, but we know our player, you'll never do things like that. So they understood that, and then so they said, okay, no, he must come when he's free, or when everything is finished. And then so that week, I think it was on a Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember. So Cape United were playing Dynamos at Rufaro Stadium. So Shepard Bwanya said to me, do you want to play or you don't? I'm like, you know what? Let me take my mind off. Let me go and play. So I go in, to the Murufaro Mian, Dabuda, and with a warm up. Saka warm up, it was kuside kuneji Vietnam. Saka ndishungo tanga ngumanya chit. Yeah. And then the thing started singing. Dina wakarepa. And I was like, yo, yeah, this is, can I perform under these circumstances? Then we went back, and I told the late Steve Quash, the coach, I'm like, coach, this for me, I don't think I can. Then he said, be strong. Show them that you did not do it. Go and play. Then I'm like, okay. Then I went. I played. I think we won 2-0 against Dynamos. So I made sure that whoever that was playing, I think it was Claudius, whoever is playing on my side, I want to make sure that I'm going to make you run, and you don't want to play football at all. And then I don't know where I got the strength and the power. So I was going up and down.
Wow.
Up and down. And they were still singing. Vietnam, how it is. So they were singing, and then when we changed to go to the other side, it was easy because there was no singing. So then we finished the game, and if I have to tell you the story about what was happening in the court, we also need another 6 months, because it's something that I would, sometimes I cry about it. So the last day now, so we played Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it was the final day where the judge was going to pass Uti, guilty, because everything that was presented there, it was like the truth. That's what exactly happened. So on the on the last day, when the judge wanted to pass now to say, listen, because I was found guilty. I was, because everything that was done to the child proved that I had done something to her. So my child at that time spoke in the court, without being asked with anyone. She said, Mommy taught me to say this.
Yes.
So everybody was like, then what did she? Mama said, Mama has been teaching me to say this. That's when everything changed. The story changed. That's when I was found not guilty. So from that Monday, and then I flew to Cape Town. I went to Cape Town, and then I signed. I just went there. They came to fetch me from the airport, straight to the office, and then I signed. That's how I was signed in Cape Town.
In Cape Town.
So that's my story. Yeah. So that's my story. That
it's a deep one. Mind. Yes, and thank you for sharing that one. It's a very sensitive issue and a very personal story, and it speaks of the struggles that and it makes footballers human as well. The things that you experience before you go into the games. Patentiona mchitamba, sometimes echitogotukirira tiri mumaterrace and not knowing
Keep up
Yeah,
that.
true.
some of the
Mm.
things that you'll be experiencing.
Mm.
And yeah, it's a struggle. There are many men that are in Chikurubi because of false allegations
Yes,
like
false
that.
allegations, true. Yes.
And then your life. And what I'm just glad is you recovered from that and you gained the mental strength to be able to then go on to Ajax Cape Town and then go on to Orlando Pirates. And yeah, we thank God for that.
No, amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Eddie, for sharing. I mean, I think what you said is a story that, I think it's becoming more now, mostly because of media. I mean, recently, Benjamin Mendy, former World Cup winner,
Yes, yes.
ended like in prison for almost 2 years. He came out, was done. We've had many people, going through. And from what you've been through, I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, the biggest takeaway I think would be your mental strength to be able to go and play at Rufaro under those circumstances and with what was going on at home, and you're still able to perform. It's very commendable. I wanted to ask you this: how was it playing in Europe in the 90s? Because we've seen stories, Zana Okocha saying, in the likes of Poland, the racism was serious, and the Turkish league is not easy as well. How was it playing at those leagues, especially when you went there when you were still quite young?
Yes, yeah, it was very difficult, and considering that I went there at a young age and to a non-English speaking countries, it was very, very difficult. So the only thing that would understand each other was when we are playing football, but outside there, it was very difficult. I had two incidents in both in those two countries. One in Poland, there's a place where I can't remember the name of the place because it's been a long time. That city, it has got skinny heads. Those guys with the tattoos on the heads. Yeah. So we went there. I was in a bus, so I was sitting by the window, open. So I did not know about that place. So it was my first time to be there. So when we were getting inside now, the stadiums, so they were not throwing, not even bananas, not even cups of alcohol or those plastic cups. They were throwing stones at my window. When they saw me, they started throwing stones, not plastic cups, stones, like window. So I had to duck and then move and then other side. So when I went now, okay, we went in and then we changed, got dressed, and then we went to warm up. So when you warm up, as a young man, you could feel that no, this tension it's too much for me. I cannot handle it. Because even if you did not understand what they're saying, but you can feel good they are talking about me here. And so same thing again. I'm like, when we went to the back to the changing room to change now so that we should go back. So I spoke to the coach and I said, Coach, with this that is happening, the bus being stoned at, I can never play. I'm not comfortable. I'm not okay. Can I sit this one out? So the coach understood and he told the team manager, he said, listen, take the car, take him back to our city, because imagine if I had stayed and played that game and then after the game, what was going to happen? So the racism, so those ones are known to be racist people, those skinnyheads. So it was very difficult for me. But other than that, when we're playing in other cities and in our city, it was okay. I didn't have a problem with that. And then when in Turkey, I'm walking in the streets, and then the two young boys approached me, and then they said, "Can I see your hand?" Then I showed them my hand. Then they said, you must go back and bath. Why are you white inside your palm and then here you are dark? So you look like a baboon.
Okay.
So I just lost it. I did not care where I was, who I was. I clapped them, 2 of them. And then the mother, they went in, then they told the mother went to the police. They came with the police. So they asked me, did you? I'm like, yes, I did. Why? And then I told them. So the club has to be involved in terms of, hitting those two boys. But in a matter of fact is that these guys, these white people, instead of them teaching these young ones about, that we are the same, it's only the color that is different. They don't. They would rather stay, the kids, no, black is black, white is white. So these guys, it wasn't like that at the same time. So those are the 2 incidents that I but the Turkey one hit me most than even the one that I was being stoned, because, for a young boy, 13, 14-year-old to come and tell you, you did not bath properly, go back and bath.
Yes.
And you look like a baboon. That was the insult. It was worse. So yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for countries that are still racist people, for other athletes to go and play there. I mean, we have seen it happening even in Spain. You look at the Vinicius, when they go play, being called names, and it's as you guys said that, sometimes we don't understand what these players are going through when they are on the field of play, because at the back it's something else. So we go out there, we give it our shot, and things doesn't happen. People think, no, he's being paid so much money and he's not even performing. But now we forget there's a story behind the player not even performing so well. So I don't know, because I've seen, we have tried it. We have tried banners in the stadiums, players, no racism, but still it's happening. So I'm not sure exactly if there is a way that can be tackled and then avoid that. We have tried to remove people that are showing any kind of animosity and on the pitch, but still it's still happening. So I don't know how that can be solved.
Yeah, that's true. So related to that, how did you find your experience at Orlando Pirates? Were you accepted since you were Zimbabwean? Did you find it difficult to break into the team? And how was the culture there? We hear there are juju stories at Orlando Pirates.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I've said it earlier that in terms of talking, playing, crowd-wise, it was easier for me, because remember, as I said, Dynamos versus Caps, the crowd. So it was okay for me. But for playing for a bigger club like Pirates, the pressure is too much, because every game that you play, you have to win. There is no draw. You must not lose. Every game that you play, you need to win at all costs. So the pressure now of winning and performing in each and every game, it was too much. It was too much. I mean, if you are not strong enough, you won't survive, because this is where I seen, because when I was back home, it was the reporters, they can make you and or break you. But at Orlando Pirates, the supporters will make you or break you. The supporters. So Pirates, as much as you need to win all the games, you can lose 5 games in a row, and the next game is Kaizer Chiefs, and you win. They forget about the 5 games that you have lost. And then you lose those games, the 5 games. You play Kaizer Chiefs, you win. You are their king. So whenever you play against Kaizer Chiefs, it's a game that the supporters will not forget it. it's a game whereby whether it's Chiefs or Pirates, one has to win. So if you're an Orlando Pirates player, you need to make sure that you are going to win, because they will forget the 5 games that you played that you were man of the match. They'll forget about it. Then they'll want this one, Kaizer Chiefs, especially if you're playing it towards December, towards Christmas, because for them, that's their Christmas present. And then if you lose, you are useless.
I want to ask, talking about my derbies. Talking about my derbies. Sorry, Juju. Orlando Pirates Kaizer Chiefs derby. Reno advertise a week before. I'm telling you,
a month before.
Time slot by national TV.
Yes, a month. Yeah,
and then
a month
if
before.
If you go back, my national derby edu edibare nekepe. Maitozviziva kuti vakomana Sunday kuyayo kayo ma one gega, like you said, aina magama 10. But now if you look at the two situations, even up to now, the derby counts the most of South Africa. Like, it's a big thing still. And then Kwedu, if you watch the derby, it has lost that, I see now that, that could people look forward to it. What's your take on that? What do you think has contributed to that? Is it the level of the game or?
As we said earlier on, I think it has to do with the quality of the players that are playing for Cape United and Dynamos. I mean, I can ask you now to say, can you tell me the first 11 of Dynamos and the first 11 of Cape United? The first thing that you'll be like, oh, okay, goalkeeper, Anonzani okay, right back, Anonzani I mean, that's a fact. That's a fact. So the quality is also changed. But back then, if I say Dynamos, or to say, just give me your lineup that you think that is going to play. Unotovwa watotanga from number 1, watotanga, Gift Mzadzi, okay, I'm not talking about this one, Yana Gift Mzadzi. But the one, Yana, I think, who was the goalkeeper after Peter Fano that was for Dynamos, and then I'm talking about that Dynamos that we used to play against it. When you see Vitalis, the minute you know, Guti, Nasi Ndukusanga na Vitalis Takawira, Nasi Pakaipa, and then you look at kuna Moses, kuna Memory Mchirao, Amana, Nasi Saga, those, and then now you look at the quality of the players that were there compared to the ones that are here. So that spark, it's no more there. I think it's also caused by the quality of the players that are there now. Back then, you would not play for Dynamos and Cape United just to say, okay, I'm going there, let me play. No, you can't. You can't do that. You have to be good enough for you to be signed by Dynamos or Cape United. And then the junior structure also was very good, with the reserve side. So they would throw you in there, whether you're playing against Dynamos or not. And that's the difference now with compared to what is here. I mean, kana 5 players of Cape United. I would 2 or 3. The rest, I don't even know them.
Yeah, Eddie, I've got a question. My question is coming from.
I can hear you now, Kevin. Okay, Shims is gone.
What I was saying, if my question is since we are now saying with the standard your border in Zimbabwe has gone down, you agree with that? Is it because
yes, 100%.
my players are right now are gonna bora, or is the coaching yavari kusangana nayo inovasunudza kuti vave better players? Because I believe kuti if you look at your part, your journey from what you're saying, growing up and so on and so forth, pane nguva yekuti a few weeks ago taitaura nyaya yema-patterns handiti in football kuti even if the coach is new akapuhwa 2 days atambotora 30 days dzedze, you can pick kuti ma-patterns ebhora aaplayiwa pateam iyi angazoramba zvawo kubuda, but you can actually see kuti pane zvebhora zvambotaurika apa. But now if you check on what's happening with Zim players right now, I feel like topana vari kufesa malnutrition of the basics of football, on how they should play to win, on how to become the best players, on how to become difficult players to play against. Yango basic football yakungoti hadi tinotamba bhora titore 3 points and then that's it. But kana azosvika nguva manje kuti tauda kutaura nyaya yequality manje kuti right, tauda kukwidza, tauda kuenda pane level rekuti tauda kurepresent the national team. Havasi game time. It's falling short pama levels ekuzoswa. So what do you think about that? In level, let's say coaching or football administrating. Yanda kunza kwa uri mai kuti awfa uri kuda kuzokwindawo kumberi here nekuzoti auzodzisawo apana bhora kuti aiwa apana bhora iri rinoitwa so and so and so, nekuti vafundisi mudhara vari kungonamata vari mumachechi umu kuti zvinhu zviningirire, but hapana zviri kuitika. Pari kutoda kuti vanhu vatoenda paground vatomirawo ivo kuti ndokuti zvinhu zvese zvichinje. Those are my 2 questions for you.
Okay, thank you, Will. Okay, let me start with this one, the last one that you just asked. Yes, I'm heavily involved in junior development, and I've got one boy that represented South Africa, Bafana at World Cup. That came from my, I don't say it's an academy, I call it a football development. So I've got one boy that represented South Africa in the World Cup now recently. So I'm all about development, and I've got also boys.
Who's that boy?
Mike Sibelebel. He's now playing for Pirates. He's playing for Pirates, yes. So he came through. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. And I've got also boys from Zim that I've developed that I've sent back home. One is playing for Moz, and then the other 3, I think one is playing for Zim Saints, and then the other 2 are playing in Division 1. I'm not sure I forgot the names of the teams. Yes, I'm a qualified KFB coach, and I'm waiting to do my KFA. So, I want to equip myself more. But I would love to be involved, whether it's being a coach or the Ziffa structure, in terms of, like what we're saying, that we wish Bambo can also be given that role of identifying, talent. I don't mind go back home and being told, listen, go around Zimbabwe, let's look for talent, let's look for these youngsters with certain age, and I don't mind doing that. I would love to do that if also given a chance. So I always want to get involved in our build up of our football, to take it back to where it was. And then your first question, I got so much interested in watching Zimbabwean football every time when the 2 teams play. And yes, you can tell that there are teams that are being coached, that you can see exactly what they are trying to do. And then, other teams, it's very difficult to see the identity of the team. What exactly do they want to do? So you just watch, and isu tatojairaka kuti when we watch game tinotogara nemapepa nemabook, and I write notes how this team defend, how they build up, how they transition, things like that. And I want to see, and also sometimes when you listen to the coaches after the game on the post thing, I want to listen to a coach and see the game that I did not watch when he's talking about it. And, so that even yourself, when you listen to him, you can imagine the game that he's talking about. But very few coaches can do that. You hear a coach saying that, no, we played very well. We didn't convert the chances. So me, I'm sitting, I'm like, okay, you couldn't convert. How did you not convert the chances? How did you create the chances? How did you manufacture? So we need to understand. So someone who didn't watch the game wants to know, okay, we had or Jay who had the ball, who was taking the guys on, and then we had Prince who overlapped, and then he was given to cross the ball, and then so now you can literally see, okay, so Prince is one that crossed the ball, and then Willie, instead of using the forehead, he mishead the ball, used it on the side. So okay, so Willie was supposed to use the forehead. Okay, now I understand. But when coaches say, no, we played well, and we should have converted the chances that we created, it's back to the drawing board. I did not see the game. I need to. So how? So so things like that. We need to educate the coaches too, and it becomes easier too for people, for fans that we're not watching the game, to understand the game, because the coach is narrating exactly how they played well. From the build-up phase to the middle. What is it? Whether there was a combination play? How did the ball go to the final third? Things like that. So it's also it plays part, so that if a coach cannot say that, what's going to happen to the players? It's going to be very difficult. If we have to talk about it, there is so much that we can unpack. Now, when it comes to very few coaches would, that you listen, will be like, oh, okay. Oh, no, I can hear exactly what he was trying to do.
Okay. While you're on that, I wanted to just ask a few questions. Which teams have you been mostly impressed with in the local league? You're saying that you do watch a lot of the local league. The Abima team that you can say, these teams have been, mostly impressed with. And then one, just a personal one. I mean, you've played with quite a number of players, and you've even captained, my team Pirates to a league title, at some point. Who would you say was the best player that you've played with locally in South Africa for the Warriors, and internationally? I know you've played with the likes of the late Gift Leremi, who was super talented. You've played with lots of players. Which are the players that I would say were the best that you played with, or the ones that you say were the most difficult to play against?
No, Itakuti Leremi played with Dinha, quite the other way around.
Okay, I will start with the teams that I enjoy. I'm enjoying watching back home. I think you look at Benjani. Benjani is doing very well. You can see the identity of his team, what he's trying to do. I mean, it's very easy. Once you sit there, you watch 10 minutes, you'll be like, okay. Right. I know this coach knows exactly what he's doing. You look at also Scotland. I think Norman is doing very well for Scotland too. I enjoy watching those two. Dynamos, it's a 50-50. I've watched the Dynamos 50-50. Take sure, yes, it's there. You can see. Take sure. I mean, Cape United. You can see their identity too. But some other, it's very difficult. it's very difficult. And then coming here, South Africa, you asked me whether also the team that impressed me also to watch. Obviously,
Yeah, you can go ahead.
You can't rule out Pirates. I think they had a very good season the last season. They played so well, and I think their momentum, I think towards the end, they were kind of dropping, but they managed to hold on and not lose valuable points. But I liked the tempo, how they play 90 minutes with the same tempo and not they'll come at you. So, which was good. And also you enjoy watching Sundowns. I mean, nobody doesn't enjoy watching Sundowns. It's a ball playing team that always wants to keep the ball. They, do everything with the ball. They make you run with the ball. You look for the ball, you chase for it. And, that's Durban City too. I was very impressed with them. They played, good football. And then the players that I've played with, yes, that were very good. Oh, yeah. I've played with a lot of good players, but one that stands out, it has to be Steven Pienaar. Steven Pienaar for me,
At Ajax.
he was on another level. I mean, when the first time he came to Cape Town, he was 15 years old. What he was doing as a 15-year-old, I was like, this boy, give him, by the end of the year, he's gonna go to Ajax, because that time there was an agreement between joint venture. So I had said, if this boy, by the end of the year, this boy is going to go to Amsterdam, and then he did. And he was talented. The things that he would do with the ball and without the ball, the spaces that he would occupy before, he was just special. No wonder why he played for, Ajax, Borussia Dortmund, Everton, all those teams. Because for me, I would say he is one that really stands out amongst the other players that I've played with. And then my most difficult player that I played with, against, there's a guy who was playing for Golden Arrows, and then he moved from, I think he played for Sundowns. He's a coach now, Papizo Twane. That guy, every time when we play against Golden Arrows, I would think twice. I would want to say, coach, I'm not feeling okay. Can I sit this one out? Because yes. No, he was good. Maybe I'm
I remember Arrows was a
yes, team. It was a very yes. He would make you forget that you are in the field of play. And then now when you're zoned out, when you don't know where you are, that's where you come in. And by the time you want to get close, the pass that you give it's probably a goal. And everybody will be looking at you. Why are you not marking him? And I know he was very good. Tactically, technically, he was very good. And he's a very good friend of mine. And I always tell him that, Papi, if I wanted to break your leg, I would have broken your leg already, because, you used to give me so much story time. He knows. So he was a very good player. Very, very, very good player.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, go ahead.
Did you play Taimia Roger Fatumba? Or that was after?
No, Roger, I think when we were at Ajax, we played against Sundowns. I think that year they were slowly, age was catching up. And I remember our first game as Ajax, we came to Pretoria. Roger Fatumba, Rafael Chuku, Daniel Mdau. They give us 7 at night. Yeah, they gave us very good, solid 7. 7, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, he was very good. We were lucky that we played with him when he was about to retire. He had the most educated left leg. If you look at his boots, the right boot will still be branding you He would not even hold the ball with the right, but the left, the left one will be like the left boot is old. It's about to be torn but he was such a great player. So I also watched his videos when he was still playing in Europe. That's when I realized that I know he was a really general. He was one of the best players that ever graced South African League.
It's true.
Then to ask another question, to bring you back, when you were speaking of your time in Europe, you spoke about you got into a bit of a situation with an agent, and I saw from Marshall Mnetz's interview with FIFPro, it seems to still be a prevalent issue in football, with African players going there and being duped by agents. What would you say would be the best way going forward, for an upcoming player who's just been signed to Europe? You're now in football administration yourself. What measures are you guys taking to make sure that, preventative measures to protect the players so that they don't sign contracts in Turkish or in German that they don't understand?
Yes, I think the first thing could be, always try to get a translator. Or if you don't have, then I think it's best, because some of these agents, they also work with the clubs. So for them to say, you know what, I need to sign this player, and the contract comes in Turkish. But I would say the best thing is to ask for a translator, somebody that would, show you the contract that is in English, or maybe to come, because for me to go and play in Turkey, which means there is somebody that I am contracted with back home. So if I can go with him so that he gets the contract, even if it's written in Turkish, and then he can now be able to change it into English, and also him understanding to help me out as somebody that doesn't speak Turkish or speak Polish or Spanish. So for you to go alone, it becomes a problem. But if you have somebody that would assist you in terms of, I cannot sign a Turkish contract if I don't understand what's inside. So translator, or just to go with somebody else, I think that would assist you in a very good way.
Can I come in also? Just to Patrice on what you have said, when David Mandigora Duita Equant. So should I cut and then come back again?
We can all mute. Maybe it will be better.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So Eddie, I just wanted to ask something else. I think this was probably one of my last questions. Life after football. How was it for you? Because, like you said, back in your day, people used to retire at around 30 or before. So how was it when it came to life after football, and what advice would you give to up and coming players in terms of financial literacy, preparing for the career after football? Because as rewarding as it is a very short career. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you, Prince. That's a very good topic. Life after football, for most of us, I think it was very difficult, or it is, rather, let me say it is very difficult, because we soccer players, we are very ignorant, and we also don't want to learn from guys that have played, that have made mistakes after football or when they are playing. So number one is, when we don't get someone, a financial advisor, an agent that is really good at assisting me, not only to get the clubs, but to say, listen, Prince, you are earning so much. Why can't we take this portion, put it somewhere else, or let's invest it in 1, 2, 3. Most agents, it's all about, as long as Prince goes to the next team, and then I get my money, and then I then say, okay, now I'm gonna wait for Prince's next contract to end. But with us now as players, ourselves, I think it's education is very important too. So it doesn't matter whether you didn't go to school and whatever. So when you're playing, I think you also need to find something that you can do to educate yourself, because soccer players, it's always good. Trust me, it's nice. It's the best feeling ever that on the 25th, every 25th, you know there's a message that is going to come through your phone. Salary has got into your account, right? So you earn 100,000. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you earn 100,000 a month rands. So what happens is that when you earn 100,000, you'll be like, okay, 20,000, let me go to Louis Vuitton, right? And then 50,000, let me buy a Range Rover that I can pay every monthly 30,000. That's another 30,000. So already you have 50,000 down. So now you've got your kids, you've got your food that you need to buy. So in the mind now, it's saying, so now when you left 40K, you'll be like, no, if I go to Gucci and buy something, two pairs of whatever, this will do, because why? Next month it's coming in again. And then so now this is the life that you're living. So no one is helping you out to say, invest this money, do this, do that. So no one is assisting you. And then by the time your 3-year contract finishes, then you'll be like, now, oh wow, now I don't even have a club. Now you look at your bank account, it's probably 0 or minus 0. There's nothing in there. So now nobody wants you. Now you are 35 years old. Football, this is the life that you are used to get, that there's a message that is coming in. Now you decided that you want to point all everybody assisting you. So I would urge all the soccer players to say, listen, if there is anything that you can do to educate yourself, let's do that. If there is a financial advisor that you can approach or that wants to assist you, they are there. Banks, you can go there, whether you earning so much money, you get financial advisors that advise you to do 1, 2, 3. But because we are so ignorant, we think that if I have 200, 300, 400,000 in the bank account, I'm okay, I am sorted. But forgetting that the contract that you've signed is going to end. And when it ends, you have 100,000. What are you going to do with that 100,000? Nothing. So now you don't have a house. Now you're paying rent. There's no source of income now that is happening. 5 months down the line, the money is gone. Where do you start now? No one. So now that's why, because I don't know, in our mentality that we always think when you have finished football, then you are a good coach. Everybody wants to now start coaching, going there. Worst case scenario, we don't even doing coaching courses too, because we play the game. Now, instead of educating ourselves, if you want to be a coach, do the coaching courses, just find out how it is, because the transition from playing to being a coach, it's not the same at all. When you go to coaching courses, you would see things that you'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that this is what happens when the coach is doing this and that. So now we tend now to say, okay, let me do private coaching, because I played for Orlando Pirates. So when I say I want to do private coaching, now Prince comes, oh, Prince, I'm going to charge you 2,000 for your kid so that I can coach. And then OJ comes again. Listen, bring your kid. I'm charging you 2. So now you are looking for a way to survive. But now you forget that when you had the money, you did not do anything. It's all about booze, driving the most expensive cars, and probably women too. So it's always good to educate yourself when you are still playing, so that you understand the money when it comes in. Do this, do that, do this, do that. By the time you retire, you can fall back on your investments, and then you live happily.
Can I just also come in? Mine is going to be more on the Warriors because right now we're left with less than 3 months before the Warriors get in, and we don't have a coach, we don't have a strategy, we don't have a stadium, we don't know the players, and we only know those that are being called so far. The selectors are going to select who and Mtasa asiri kutamba bora Dynamos from Scotland to Dynamos. So you find Kuti, when you went to the national team, that's when we end up talking in another chapter. But all I want to say is the issues that we have been talking about of financial literacy and education of about finance is one of the critical things that we can actually see Kuti, within our statutes as ZIFA. Besides Kuchaka, people should be putting up structures that helps my players themselves. What are the issues that comes up? And I was actually touched when you talked about that issue when people were saying Kuti Dina Wakarepa. But we had an institution, ZIFA was there, the team was there and everything. So what are the things that you think even ZIFA or national team that can be put in place to support the players so that at the end of the day, they feel they belong? And to you, what made you feel, Kuti, when you went for the national team, could know I think I belong to this to this team?
That ZIFA thing is still owe us money that we played back then.
Yeah.
Till now.
Sorry, you are mute,
sorry.
Eddie. You're on mute, so please start again.
Am I? Can you hear me now? Okay. So I was saying that you won't believe that the games that we played in the national team, this ZIFA thing is still owes us money for those games that we have played. So it was a case of we sponsor.
Are you
I
serious?
am telling you. Yes.
Serious.
Ray Bapesa why?
I am telling you. Saka, those are the monies that we say, you know what, okay. Remember, there was a time ZIFA would say, listen, we can't, we want you to come, but ZIFA, I think the partners with, I don't know if it was Air Zimbabwe or something like that, and ZIFA were not paying Air Zimbabwe, the airman, for the tickets. So they'll ask the players to fly ourselves in, and then they'll pay you back. Right, so you do that, and I'm not even talking about flight tickets. Go play. Okay, now write your name and your banks, and we'll give you the money after the game, because players, they need to rush back to their clubs. So we go. The money never came, and we said, no, we made peace with it that we are not going to get the money. So it's okay. There are people, I promise you, there's our crew that were not paid for games that we have played. But because we Zimbabweans, we love our country. So call me anytime. I would book myself to come and play. And then that's it. So that's why they always fight again. That, because Zimbabwe was always camping at Cresta. So it comes a time that the bill is huge now, because ZIFA hasn't paid. So now we are being moved to another hotel, and for one night, and then you are here, and then sometimes they pay half of it. Then Cresta said, okay, come back, and then the bill goes up again. So it was that up and down, but we never stopped coming to play for the nation. So we're always there.
Yeah, that's a difficult.
Oh, Jay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Dear guys, I've had a nightmare today. Honestly, I think I have to buy another phone. I even tried, with my work phone, and I couldn't get through with my work phone and everything. So anyway, if you can hear me, the most important thing, and I kept on trying, to get through, because I wanted to say something, which I felt, were important. Yeah. That's again, I'm here to, sort of praise Eddie, for something. Eddie, when you went through, if you remember when you went through this situation with your child and all that, yeah. I was there. I was there. I saw you experiencing that. I was there, even that game at Rufaro Stadium, when Dynamo's fans were singing and all that, I was in that squad. Yeah. And it was heartbreaking, to see you through going through that because, we're talking about up close and personal, we in the same dressing room, we're seeing you're trying to do what you're good at, and you have this distraction, and we're not just talking about a distraction, we're talking about your own child, and with all this happening, I don't know how you did it, to even be able to manage to be on the pitch, with that, I I can tell you, I have it there on my. I remember exactly what the Dynamo's fans were singing, and it was nasty. It was nasty, and but somehow you dealt with it, that way, and to then hear, that this was all, but which we knew anyway. We knew that you'd done nothing wrong, we knew what was going on because you had mentioned it, and to then see you, coming out of that, obviously with your child having mentioned that no, actually, this is mommy. This what mommy was telling me. It was a massive relief for everyone, but that's something that sticks with you forever. Because I look at it, and I've got a daughter, yeah, and I can imagine if that very same thing happened to me, and I'm being accused of that, and to a child who I brought onto the earth, and that daughter I love, I could kill, I could die for that child, and someone poisons that child. But to say things, like that, to taint, your image, and you someone who's well known, playing, your best football, for Caps United, and at that time, come on, this was still Dynamo's Caps United proper games, when, at that time, and to go through that was terrible because I saw that. I was there. I saw that it was horrible. And you did well. I think you didn't. I don't think you. I think you didn't stay that long after that. Yeah, that's when you went to South Africa. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, that's true. I did not stay. I think because when the verdict, when it happened on a Monday, and then that very same Monday, then I flew to Cape Town.
To Cape Town,
Yes.
yeah, I remember that. I remember, and that's it. Just shows, you as a person, what, how you handled it, and a lot of people would have struggled, to handle it the way that you did because you remained professional. You didn't try to, do anything untoward or anything that would sort of backfire on you because you're angry, with all this happening, you, and that coolness, probably the coolness within yourself as a person, not just in football, played a massive part, in helping you in that, and that it, to know what to actually know that now, like, you're in a position to talk about it, because that's one thing I would, to be honest, if you didn't say it, I would never bring it up, because even now I would have still thought, what, you probably put it at the back of your mind that you don't even want to talk about it anymore. And so when I came back and I was losing my network and I heard you talking about it, I thought, wow, you know what? Because this happened. I remember when the game, half, no, it was even before the start of the match. And I think the game was delayed a little bit there because it was just horrible, and we were stood just outside the dressing room, like go. When you're walking towards, the pitch, there's that space in between the dressing room and the ground, and we stood there for a while, and there was all this commotion, all this noise, and I was looking at you. I honestly remember looking at you and thinking, how the hell how the hell can you deal with this? How can you how are you able to get onto the pitch and these idiots are singing, your name in this manner? So I'm glad that you raised it, and I'm glad that I can, for the first time, I can really say, that, I'm proud of you, for the way that you handled that situation, because I don't know many who could have handled it the way that you did. So hats off to you, and I think your calmness, your cool, is always shown, from day one until now. You're still the same old guy, who's always shown, that coolness. And, hats off for you, mate.
But Kevin, ndabvunzawo inini kuti what structures do we have within our soccer? Because what I noticed after Magalani aita nyaya dzake, people, Fifth Pro just went in and ikataura nezvecontract, but such psychosocial support structures ariko here, or if they are not there, because recently I saw Scotland in a bloated administration, and a team manager and other things. Probably it might be a discussion for some other day, but I think and feel that this is a lesson and it should be cascaded to my young players now. But also bearing in mind, zvataura Dina kuti vachiri kuowewa mari. I had Sunday mari mashoti na Breno achiti.
I think to your point, Oliver. When it comes to administration, I think it's something that is bedeviled our country for a long time. Even the likes of FUZ. Can you hear me properly? So the likes of FUZ, if you notice, the Footballers Union of Zimbabwe is captured. They won't do anything. So, like you're saying, psychosocial help, I think at the point where we are now, we should be having such structures within ZIFA. Also within the clubs from grassroots level, because if you see even in Europe, there's players who have, after being exed from academies, they end up, taking their own lives and all of that. Even the situation with Eddie, it could have gone sideways. Mostly, it went well, mostly because he was, he's a person who's got so much mental fortitude. But there needed to be someone from Caps United to come in to help psychologically, to assist him, because that's a very difficult time. So, in as much as we are saying that, you spoke of Scotland, I feel like with the way they are doing things, they are the people, I think, they're at the right place to action such things, because they have the resources, have a psychologist. Even when it comes to Afcon, I remember the last interview, there was a player as well from Zim who said at Afcon 2004 and 2006, the reason why they didn't qualify was about the belief. So it shows that there are lots of psychologically, we might have the ability, but psychologically we are not there. So to your point, Oliver, we really need structures whereby, players are programmed psychologically to deal with certain situations, and that will most definitely take us, to the next level in terms of our football.
You don't recycle dead wood and expect different results. It's only fools that continue to do the same thing and expect different results.
I agree with
previous. Is a substantive secretary. What are we doing? You take someone from Rwanda, Womisa, Gurisa, Maguvura National Stadium, National Sports Stadium, Bona World Cup. What is that? We've got serious issues. That's when we have my legends who should go to schools. They did a very good. They did an MOU with Ministry of Education where they are saying throughout the year. Why not second my legends to schools so that whoever is a legend, yes, we have got a coach who's a teacher, but we also have a legend who can inspire and motivate our fans. I think somewhere, somehow, he needed to take out all those olds, because old year back to where we are coming from. That's my thinking. Because marriage is no. But I think your experience in about Warriors.
kupindura ngekeni Dina. Ndoda
Yeah,
kuti Oliver
I
ona.
think
Nekuti the moment yavanouya ari iye akambotamba bhora akatitambira akagonawo paakatambira ipapo. Ndiye futi akufanira kuuya
yeah, it looks like
Yeah, we've
looks
lost
like
him.
Eddie done. Yeah,
All
I
right.
think we had kept him for long too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had kept him for
you're
long.
saying kuti my players ngawe ndikuti Zifa ngaitore. We have always clamored to say Zifa should have a department that they know that we have a database of our former players. And where are they? What are they doing? Look at Wayne Rooney. Look at Wayne Rooney, because there is a legacy that he has left. And but
You know-
Zifa at the moment, we are busy recycler somebody who was actually deemed not fit for that position, and we bring them back. What is the agenda when you bring somebody and then you give them a substantive position?
Ukona chi, when it comes to Magwizi, a president is good as the people around him. And unfortunately, our president is surrounded by people who are mostly focused on hubris. Zvinhu zvisina basa. Kuda kuonekwa for doing, the smallest things, but we have issues, greater issues at hand. For example, Nyaya Stadium, they didn't even submit it for assessment. So it shows kuti havana basa nazvo. Stadium yavari kubudisa kuti tiri kuona World Cup nemhuri dzavo just for PR. They didn't submit it, and that goes to say that we are a country that's been known to be country cash strapped. So it means that these guys, they enjoy the benefits ema allowance ekuenda kunotamba. Kana zvichinzi totambira kuRwanda, kuri kuHayama Stadium, kutamba kuRwanda, they get their allowances, vonakiro, free trips. At whose expense? Development of football. Kuti my junior league hakuna, taitaura this one time, but put even to my astroturfs kumageto, so that kids can play and have these legends come in, even per database as well. Hakuna data overseas and locally, even my states anonetsa kuwana kuZimbabwe.
I just wanted to one thing, which I'm na 80, and then
Go ahead,
I think
Tim.
I should be going. But anyway, it's been nice as well meeting you guys. Zilmaruta and Jujuju, I've not really had proper conversations with you, but Tazwana Chataura, yeah. And so what I wanted to say is I wanted to put sort of evidential aspect, into what Eddie was talking. Paatanga kutaura chaipo right at the very start akataura kati kwakune mashanga, and mashanga, which was the reserve team and how it works. So I wanted to put it into practice what exactly he was saying, and ichiisa myself into it, because I think some of you guys have said it before, but you're just making a point to understand it. That's exactly what used to happen. Yeah, for my first time to play Kunzinda, kutamba first game but I'm going to Cape United, ndandiri mwana ari kumashange gogo kumafringe gogo andite, and it only took a one training session on a Thursday, which I really was outstanding. The last 15 minutes, Zandagatamba, and I was picked, and from then on, after that 15 minutes, Mufungira. Bear in mind, there was 22 we had started, and I didn't even start in the 22. Yeah, that's how much, quality of player there. But because I did well in that 15 minutes, I was picked to go and play against Lancashire. Yeah, and we were traveling away. And then something happened with Buinjira, with Shuto, and the boys from Shitungwi Zawachienemot, and they were delayed. Yeah, and we got to the ground. I ended up starting. So you see, this Wednesday, I was nowhere near that first team. Thursday, I was nowhere near that first team. There was 22 and I wasn't in that starting 22 Yagatanga Kutamba Tispa Hilton background. Yeah. Saturday, I'm in the squad. Sunday, I am starting my first game for Cape United. Yeah. So within a matter of 4 days, things just changed like that. Why? Because the competition was there, the quality was there, and it was just a matter of saying you just get lucky at one point. You keep on going. So It's what he was saying. That's exactly like this stuff that he's saying, that first team, I guess, versus reserve, because it just like reserve wanted it more in a way, because even though first team were training hard, it's not like they were mess about or anything starting 11, but they were just playing against a team that is really going for it because they want to be in the side. So izvata kuita munomu zvokuti unotraina 11 aside hauna kupfeka shin pad kana kuti chinonyeba iwe. First day yainzi FA, yeah, waipfeka shin pad because unogona kusara imo neinjury, yeah, because you played like it's a game. Yeah, that's the difference, because the competition was there and the will to do well was there. Right now, like he said, if you make the comparison now, kudhara waigona kupudiswa kunzi player abudiswa half time kuri kupinda imwe player inenge of equal ability to that. Now zambotaurirwa kuti maybe let's say kana kuti ana Kama whatever vari kubudiswa 5 minutes to go, munhu ongopiwo 5 minutes dzake. Kazhinji kachona is because coach asati asvika paposition yekuti anokutrust here yekuti can you do 45 minutes for me ndikabudisa Kama kana kuti ndikabudisa this established player. Yeah, that's how far down the football has gone, whereby at that time the competition national was rife to an extent where I remember some players who were on standby. It's either standby went to hotel in an 18-man squad. Player yonzizo yapedza kudya team yese iripo 16 vese varimo vevanze two maplayers ari pastandby vobva vapinzwa mumota vakumhanyiswa kurufaro kana vari kugwanzura kunotamba game ra1 rechi remareserve. The quality of players were there that sometimes those players could get there vobva vanzi netimu yatata seta muri kutanga muri panze, but vanhu vari kubva kupi, vari kutobva kunodya lunch yekuti vari musquad vachatobhadharwa mari yestandby. See, those things are almost like the yato dinosaur when we're talking about Zimbabwean football now. Things have gone completely different. There's no grassroots, there's no competition, there's not many players pushing each other. You knew if you just slacken a little bit, no matter how good you were, you could lose your shirt. And it just seems like everything has just gone completely different in our direction. That's what I wanted to say. So the factual part of it, from what it's talking about.
Yeah. It was a very, very rich discussion, Eddie. Fortunately, network is being a bit of a problem with him now, but he says he wants to come back another time. So we'll have another day at Smith after part 2 now, because we didn't go through to the Warriors and the other things. But thanks, KV, for the perspective as well as the other situation which happened. So just before we close, I think last week we had the World Cup final. Do you guys have any last words on that, on what happened? What do you think?
Oliver, what mute?
Okay, I'm saying good. There were so many African teams. The other one became number 4 after all African teams had actually left. The one that is called France. But I know that's an African team. They played just like an African team. Then also we saw another. Tuchel became more or less like an African coach, leading all the time, then wanting to defend and then losing. Why? What was that? But all the same, and to me, this was a very good World Cup, which was also then marred by poor administration from FIFA, just like any other institution. But it was an entertaining one and exciting one, and there's no World Cup without controversy. Football to Spain, they deserved that. And I think that was the 4th and 5th was the final before the final.
Like you said, takambotaura issue yaye kuti iwe unoyazopuwa zikeke rako rere and then you choose the wrong place to go and eat that cake. Wow, cake. You've got the players. You nice mentality kuna saka kuti you cannot finish 90 minutes. There's a mentality muna Rashford. Rashford who's been playing at Barcelona. Huh? And in my opinion, you'll be your best player na saka. Anditika ekuri kuno kuAfrica kwedu taitaura wakatengesa game uchiziva because haugarisi ma-star players pasi uchida kuendako. You have to play your best players wowina bora. But like you said, he behaved like an African coach because I know that guy do experiments. Anowanza ma-experiments haadi kuudzwa asi anoudzwa zvaanenge achiita the opposite side. And I feel and I know for a fact kuti egoism yakazara musoro make, the British people will deal with him very paya anobuda anochinja semachinjira kuti ma-prime minister you'll be chased muteam meme yakuti abuda aende. And then talk ma-African teams I think it was a good opportunity kuti timbozvishowcase why, because if you check the number yatakapinda nayo yanga yakati one day for the first time, and also taprova.
I want you to say it in English so that the other Africans can hear you.
I mean, we have proved that we can be a force to reckon with. We Africans. Why? Because the very same year, the numbers have been added upon in the World Cup of African teams. We have so many teams which have actually qualified to the next round, which was very, very rare. We knew it would be just one team, at most two teams, but we know for a fact it was only one team. But this World Cup, more than teams, 7 teams going through to the next round was an achievement, in my own opinion. But that African thing always catch up with us, whereby if you are not organized in a tournament football, you'll be punished. We could have seen better football. We would have seen better things being done with these African teams. But like I've always questioned you guys about the level of coaches which we have in our African teams. In my opinion, I feel like we need better coaches for all the African teams. We need better coaches. Those guys can do better. But I feel like they are
Jojo. Coaches, the difference that I saw, I'm not disrespecting what you have said. Coaches played their part. Players carried the teams. England, for instance, the one that you say I like too much. When the whole team was down, Kane would actually come up and then score. When the whole team was down, Jude would actually make wonders, and they would actually carry the team. Knowing pretty well that Tuchel is actually confused, but these guys would actually do the trick. Those guys, they carried the team all from the first games going all the way up. But now we needed a tactician. That's when we discovered that we don't have any of the tools that we expected. Taking a knife into a gunfight. That's when we realized that no, this is not a
bow and arrow. And arrow.
Because if you notice, the toughest game that England played was with Mexico at Azteca.
Yes.
That was a massive game. Azteca, if you Google it, it's a spiritual ground, which to them it's so, so when they won that, now we needed a coach who thinks. Kobe Mino, you had the midfielder who's there.
Yeah.
You had this one who's actually been injured. But what do? You let Saka, one of your best, on the bench. Not only that, when Argentina was down, Messi not marking achingweta zvake zvinoita ngirikini inonzichiwa Rangers. So you could actually see that he became useful to the extent that when they were beaten, they'll then change the complexion of the game. Spain just played their usual game.
Mhm.
The African team called France, they lost it. I don't know where and how, because the momentum. But when they played against Spain, they reduced to
Mhm.
nothing. Because
Yes,
Spain, watching it, they keep the ball.
of course.
They don't give you. They keep the ball,
I
and
think
which is the
I think the Shams is not a tactician. I think he is the man manager. From what I could see, he's more of a
Yes,
man manager
yes,
than a tactician.
yes,
So
yes,
when you're playing
yes.
against teams like Spain, which can keep the
Mhm.
ball, they can
Mhm.
spread you in various ways. You need a tactician who can really arrange you and
But
give you a structure.
OJ, remember, France had a player who can mark the ball on the bench, who did not even play.
Golo Kante.
Yes, bring
Conte.
him. He knows those boys. He can win some of the balls, and then you restart. But out of 10, if he wins the 4, and then those ones you overturn them, and then they become transition to attack, you might score 1 or 2 goals. So what's wrong with these coaches?
Yeah, I think
Wrong.
sometimes coaches they want to be a main for the.
Yeah.
I brought in a corner, I brought in a new guy instead of the one that you're expecting, and then they keep
Exactly.
their decision for their ego. So yeah, that's the problem.
The whole World Cup,
That's the
just
challenge.
because Kante is not getting along with Mbappe, you say Kante, you're not going to kick the ball. So why did you bring him then in the team? Why?
Yeah,
So the reason why we most teams don't progress is because kune vamwe vanhu vari behind. There are some people who are behind our success. There are some people who are
yeah,
just there to kanya zvinhu zvedu kuti zvifambe zvakanaka. So what do we do? Just
yeah,
like an example yapuwa naEdia yekuti when he was about to leave for South Africa the next day, what does he find? Something unusual on the
yeah.
press. But what do you do now? You need to be
Sabotage.
focused. You see, sabotage. It's proper sabotage. If you look at some of these teams, they could have done well, but that was sabotage. They didn't go anywhere. So that's why I was saying, in my opinion, this World Cup, I was not happy. I was not happy.
Yeah.
But for me, I was actually happy, but I was disappointed with Senegal. You don't 85 minutes, you're leading 2-0. I was disappointed by Egypt. You know, so yes, yes, the pedigree of being a player came in, but I think we've learned some lessons. But Morocco, for lack of a better word, they played very well. Though also we also let down the last time.
Yeah.
But
I think the difference between the European teams and the African teams, because now we have players playing at the highest stage in Europe, is the coaching. Because we've got our homeboys coaching the likes of Senegal, Morocco, and Ivory Coast. But those homeboys, if you compare them to the European coaches have coached in proper leagues. But our coaches, we bring them in, they've qualified, but they haven't been tested in any league competitions. The Senegal coach, he came in from where he was, he coached, I think, in Senegal. But at the African Champions League level, had he done anything? No, not really. The other one, where Ivory Coast, he qualified, I think, Nana Fancy Popo, and stuff. But had he been tested, really? Not really. But anyway, I think we've stayed for long. We need to go.
OJ, my last point is, it's actually weird that you have the cream that is coming from Europe. You see, with their type of play, knowing that you've got cream. Okay, I'll use a metaphor. You want to produce a very good cake. Then you bring a baker akapfeka majombo ari kubva munhingirimi ari kubva mudanga remombe asina kugeza maoko. Cake apa ndo zviripo. Because you are bringing the best out of Europe. Because the players that you are actually banking on to make a team, they're coming from Europe, knowing pretty well this is what we want to do. But you have not been exposed to that Europe and that stage, to the extent that even Mane complained after the substitution. What are you doing? because he knows good in such games you need to keep
Experience.
the team compact. But what does our African brother do? Because I'm the coach, I can actually let you go down. Then all hell broke loose. Wow. Thank you very much, OJ. Sorry I came in late.
No, it's
Yeah,
all right. So thank you to the audience.
midu akazoramba kubuda gore akati
So thank you to our audience. Thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna have the legend Eddie back in the coming few weeks to finish up on the other issues that we hadn't discussed. But thank you so much, Wilfred, for being here with us. And comments are welcome. Please continue to subscribe, share with friends. Our goal here is to discuss football unfiltered and without any bias. We are not paid by anyone, so we just say it as it is. If we are wrong, we are wrong. If we are right, we are right. But I think we need voices, and we need many more voices who can speak on our football freely, so that we can improve and stop baton. So yeah, thank you.